Now, join me for another tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head's temporarily almost daily breakfast show, episode number 301. And, well, frankly, you may have noticed that this is not your usual host. This is not Neil. Neil happened to be a little bit busy today and did not get a chance to put out a show, so he asked for some help putting this out. This is Jude, temporarily filling in for the temporarily almost daily breakfast show. And it's kind of like, back in the day, if you used to watch Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show, Johnny used to have a special guest host when he was too busy to do his show. Sometimes he was out playing tennis or, chasing women or, who knows what he did on his days off. But, when those occasions came, he had guests hosting on his show, like Jay Leno. Before Jay Leno took over, he used to guest host on The Tonight Show, and who else? Joan Rivers would come on, and everyone thought that Joan Rivers would probably take over for him, but she didn't. I think she had her own show for a while, but then, turns out she was only good at filling in for Johnny Carson on his show, but couldn't do her show of her own. Or maybe that was Chevy Chase, I don't really remember. So, I don't know. Joan Rivers went on to do a show with her daughter or something like that on the E! Entertainment thing where they were going out on the red carpets, or I don't know. I don't really follow what was going on there. All I know is that something went tremendously wrong, I think, with Joan Rivers' face. I think she had plastic surgery and then more plastic surgery, and I don't think that plastic surgery went well, and I think they switched eventually from plastic to wax or something, and being in California where it's, sunny and warm, I think the wax melted, and that's why her face looks like it does. I'm not really too sure about that, though, but I don't know. I wonder what would happen if she went to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and someone might think that, oh, look, that's a very, messed up wax figure of Joan Rivers. And she said, no, that's really me. I'm going to interrupt myself right there. That really was not a very nice thing for me to say. And I really don't want to get Neil in trouble for, insulting celebrities on his show. Maybe I should make some sort of disclaimer that the views and opinions expressed on today's episode are not necessarily those of the full-time staff of Into Your Head's temporarily almost daily breakfast show, nor that of Neil O'Carroll. So I want to apologize right there. I don't want Joan Rivers to come out and sue Neil for that. Frankly, I don't want her to come out and sue me either. So I'm going to apologize right now to Joan Rivers for making fun of her plastic surgery. And I'm sorry that it didn't work out the way it did, or however it worked out. I don't know. Unless you're happy with it. If you're happy with it, then by all means, I'm happy for you. Frankly, I don't even know if Joan Rivers listens to this show. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. I don't really know myself. But in either case, I should probably stop talking about Joan Rivers because, frankly, there's no point to talking about about Joan Rivers. I am very tired right now. It's 11:17 p.m. I agreed to do this for Neil only on the condition that he return the favor for me. I, of course, do my own show, The Brian Jude Show, which you can find at brianjudeshow.blogspot.com. And also the great Frank Nora also basically includes the show on his Overnightscape Underground channel, as it is now. Neil, I would suggest actually, if you want to increase your listenership, maybe you might want to start submitting your shows to the Overnightscape. It's really becoming a network of shows. I mean, Frank is doing his own show now. It's separated as Frank Nora FN or the Frank Nora Show or however he's calling it. But you've got all sorts of people who just started doing their own shows recently. Like Wayne does 2 shows, Spare Time Radio and Driving to Work with Wayne. Then you've got the Driving to Work with the Morning Commute with Bob, and the Sarge show, who does her St. Paul skyline thing. You've got what's the fella down in South Carolina or North Carolina? I forget, but I've listened to his show a few times, and it's very, very good.
I'm going to interrupt myself
really
again because I decided
that.
to actually look on the Overnightscape Underground, ownsug.com, and see that the fellow whose name I couldn't remember is Rich from North Carolina. And his thing, I guess, is called I'm Just Saying. He keeps saying I'm Just Saying. And I also neglected to mention another great friend of the OwnSug network, and that is Manny the Mailman, who has his show Special Delivery. So I did not want to leave that out. And let's see, is there anybody else here on OwnSug that I'm leaving out? I really can't remember here. I think that's it. I don't know. There's probably other people, but those are the people I want to make mention, so I'm going to return you back to me now. I apologize for not being able to remember the name of that show or that person. I'm really tired. But I've asked Neil to do a show for me because I've been too busy to record my show lately. I've been very involved with theater production that's going up in a few weeks here in Montclair, New Jersey, in the United States of America. It's called The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. I'm directing 4 scenes out of 16 scenes. I'm also acting in 4 other scenes, so that's half the show basically that I'm involved in, as is my wife. So she's involved in half the show, so we're both out at these rehearsals many nights out of the week, dragging our poor 5-year-old son out along to these shows, or to these rehearsals rather. And in the meantime, during the day, I'm often working either as an actor or as a substitute teacher or as a musician, doing all sorts of different things. And while I'm not doing any of that or taking care of my family, I'm writing a screenplay based on the experiences of Morris Goodman, who's known as the Miracle Man, a guy who crashed his plane in 1981. And basically, despite the fact that he had a severed spinal nerves and a crushed spinal cord and a broken neck, was able to walk on his own 2 feet after just a few months. So I'm writing his story right now, and that's going very well, actually. I'm almost done with the first draft, so I'm really excited about that. But I'm doing all these things and just really have not had the ability to put out a podcast of my own. So I've asked Neil to do that for me in exchange for filling in for him, since he didn't get a chance to do this. I don't even do my show daily. I wouldn't even try to do it daily. I try to do it maybe 2 or 3 times a week at first, and that got to be at least this year quite a bit much. So now I'm doing maybe 2 or 3 shows a month, if that. I think I only did 1 for the month of May. And that wasn't even a real usual episode of the Brian Jude Show. That was I'm promoting myself here. I might as well, but check it out. The last show that I did was a radio show that I had done when I was in college, and basically they had an alumni week, and my old co-host and I came back and redid our show, sort of recapture the magic of what we had 15 years ago, and it was very, very good. I'm actually quite proud of it. If you take a listen to it, it's a lot of fun. The radio show is called The Cellular Toaster. So here I am trying to fill in for Neil. I can't really fill his shoes because, frankly, I have no idea how big his feet are. I've never met the man personally. We've conversed many, many times through Twitter and email, and directly referencing each other in each other's shows here. But I consider Neil a friend, despite the fact that we've never met face to face. But I still have no idea how big his shoes are, so I really couldn't tell you if I could fill his shoes or not. My guess is that whether his shoes are bigger or smaller than mine, in either case, they would have to be the right size in order to fit his shoes. But frankly, I don't know how sanitary that is. You put your feet into someone else's shoes, and you're supposed to be able to know exactly what they're going through, what their experiences are. But frankly, all you're really doing is just getting their germs that came off of their feet into their shoe onto your foot, and I don't think that's very sanitary.
So, I mean, unless, those germs carry with them the knowledge of the experience of what it's like to walk around in their shoes, that may be the case, but I don't really know for sure. I don't make it a practice of walking around in other people's shoes. So, I was going to think about singing a cat song. Neil, I think one of the reasons why he's been too busy to do his show today, apparently one of his cats is a slut and went out and got herself pregnant and just had a handful of kittens, and that he's been taking care of them. And on top of that, he's got a relative who is in a hospital who's apparently afraid of facial hair. So while he's dealing with that, I'm covering his show, which we mentioned before. But I used to have cats. Unfortunately, they have both passed away. But I don't know any cat songs that I can think of off the top of my head. I also don't own a guitar, so I can't really play you a cat song on the guitar. My son does have an electric piano here, a little keyboard thing, which maybe I could play while I hold this thing. And since I don't know any cat songs, thought maybe perhaps I could do a dog song. So let's see how this goes here. Okay. Dog song. Dog song. I'm going to play a dog song for you. Dog song. It's the into your head dog song. Dogs have 4 legs, except for some who may have been born with some sort of defect or may have been injured, and they might have only 2 or 3 legs. It would be a rare occasion if a dog had more than 4 legs and ended up with 5 or 6. Although one time at some sort of carnival, I saw a goat that had 6 legs. Except the 2 legs in the middle did not quite reach the ground. But this is not a goat song. This is a dog song. And that's the dog song that I have for you today. Well, he asked me to make this about 10 minutes, and it's frankly over 10 minutes now. I keep using the term frankly. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm thinking about Frank Nora. So whenever I refer to frankly, I'm actually, I don't mean truthfully or honestly. I mean in reference to Frank Nora. Not to say that would be the way that Frank would do things, although no, it really wouldn't be. It wouldn't be at all. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried to make this quality as crappy as Neil makes his shows, and I don't know if I succeeded or not. Maybe he'll regret the fact that he asked me to do this, or I don't know. Maybe other people will do this. I think Ruben should do this. Ruben Nerd, who seems to be very silent from the podcast waves or RSS audio conduit waves, whatever you want to call it. So come back, Ruben. Cover for Neil one of these days. Anyway, good morning.